Welcome back to DSDV16AC 663 class. This is the continuation of our Module 5 Design Methodology. This is lecture number 3, um, synthesis part. Okay, this is one of the design flow, digital design flow. Okay, in the lecture number 1 we saw architecture exploration and functional design. We also saw the flowchart of the digital design flow. Okay, and we are in the lecture number 2 we covered verification part, functional verification part, and also we covered hardware software co-verification part. Okay, so from lecture number 1 and lecture number 2 we saw we got the architectural exploration from the requirements and constraints, and we started with the requirements and constraints. We went to architectural exploration, and after that we described the design as a functional design, and in the lecture number 2 we verified that functional design. Okay, and also we saw since that the design has been verified, next that described design needs to be realized in terms of physical cells. Physical cells means in a hardware way. Okay, hardware may means in terms of cells. It may be a logic gates, it may be a combination circuit block or a sequential circuit block, or it may be a IP. Okay, we shall see what is synthesis means. Okay, synthesis means in general we can say substituting the expressions or the behavioral model, whatever the equations we have used to describe the design, in terms of um, with the available library cells. Okay, synthesis is the refinement of the functional design to a gate level net list. Okay, the most of the designs are largely synthesized using in terms of RTL, means register transfer level. Okay, the whatever the design description has been done, it is synthesized as a RTL way. Okay, there are two types of designs, FPGA design and ASIC design. For FPGA design we can go for RTL synthesis directly. For ASIC design, okay, it is a somewhat complex design and it is done for higher end applications, so we need to go for custom synthesis way. Okay, the RTL synthesis, in the name itself suggests it's a model of the design. It starts with the models of the design and refined to the RTL level, register transfer level. Okay, for example, if we take a D flip-flop, that D flip-flop will be converted in terms of a register diagram. Okay, this means we cannot it means we cannot use all the non-synthesizable part. There are in a description language, in auto synthesis, in a design in auto synthesis, the whatever the instructions we use, that should be a synthesizable instructions. In a Verilog language there are many instructions, many commands, like assign. Okay, assign command is there, initial initial block is there, always block is there. Okay, and fork is there, join is there. These are some of the commands of the instructions of the Verilog language. In among these Verilog instructions we should use only the synthesizable constructs, means the construct should be able to translate into the particular gates. Okay, though only those synthesizable constructs should be used in a Verilog language. Okay, this is the second meaning. We cannot use non-synthesizable construct in order to realize a hardware design. Okay, many language features are only suitable for high level behavioral modeling, for writing and for writing test pictures, and cannot be synthesized into equivalent logic level circuits. So okay, this is the meaning. We need to use only the synthesizable constructs in the Verilog language. Before choosing a before choosing a programming language to describe the design, we need to get the list of synthesizable construct, means the only those instructions, only those commands which can be converted into particular respective gate level or hardware level. We need to use only those instructions. Okay, for example, what is the meaning of this means, for example, we are writing a test bench. In the test bench we'll be using an initial block, right? Initial, begin, end. Within the initial, begin, end, we'll be giving the specification, we'll be giving the input combinations. Okay, that initial, begin, end, whether it is synthesizable, when we when we try to synthesize, whether that initial block will convert into, will converts that into a respective gates, that needs to be checked, right? Okay, this is the meaning of that one. Okay, when we write an expression, sum is equal to a XOR b. Okay, then this expression will be realized into an XOR gate with the two inputs and one output, a and b input and one sum output. But when you go for initial block, initial begin and block. Within that, if you specify any equation, sum is equal to a XOR b, whether this will be converted, will be into a XOR gate or not. They should be aware of that. This is the meaning of synthesizable construct and non-synthesizable construct. Okay. The RTL models written using a subset of language features, not complete entire language features. Will use only the features which converts that commands into a respective gates. Okay, for example, most synthesis tools require the sequential hardware to be expressed using a always block only. Okay, a behavioral style, most synthesis use always block, because always blocks is somewhat easier to convert the expressions, whatever the expressions within it, into a respective hardware level. Okay, for edge triggered registers, they require always blocks. Okay, always block template. Okay, whatever the flip flops you write, always set of posits, always set of negates. Okay, that block will converts accurately the expressions into a particular register level hardware realization. Okay, the reasons for these restrictions is that it may be a cost effective, or it may be the way they have written the converting of the way the tool has been designed to convert the uh, expressions into a register level easily. Okay, this is about it will depend on the development of the synthesis tool technology. Earlier, the synthesis tools were performed a relatively simple pattern recognition. Okay, to determine the hardware circuits which are implied, and as the technology has been developed, um, they the tool vendors and the designers are focused morely on improving the quality and optimizing the synthesized hardware rather than expanding the scope of the acceptable input code. Moreover, there was a little demand for removing the distractions. The main goal was to concentrate on the getting the job done easily. Okay, than seeing on restrictions, and the more concentration was getting the job done easily. So they developed some standards in order to make sure the synthesis, means the conversion of the descriptions into hardware part and into gate levels. They framed some rules for the languages. Okay, those language the based on those standards, the languages should be followed, and the description should be written based on those standards. Okay, the two standards came into existence from the IEEE. Okay, IEEE had defined two coding standards, one for VSDL and one for Verilog. Okay, these are the two languages in a hardware description language, VSDL and Verilog. VSDL followed at the beginning an IEEE standard of 1076.6, and Verilog followed an IEEE standard of 1364.1. As the time as the time went, they at the subsequent stages, these standards were also improved. In 1999, the VSDL standards 1076.6 has improved, and in 2002, 1364.1 of a Verilog language has been improved. Okay, subsequently in 2014, this standard has been revised. This standard has been revised with a more powerful constructs. Okay, and many tool vendors accepted these portions of the extension of the subset, and they started to provide the standard library cells. Okay, the synthesis tool starts by the way of working the synthesis tool. Whatever the Xilinx tool, whatever the Aldec tool, you can consider them as a synthesis tool. Okay, how the synthesis will work. Okay, you have performed the synthesis step in your LD lab. How that synthesis tool works, we'll see. It first analyzes the model. Then it checks whether the code is written in a proper style requirements, whether the syntax has been followed, whether the semantics has been followed, whether the if block has properly ended, whether the begin end are proper. For a begin, is there any proper end is there. Okay, and the semicolon has been violated, or the format of a numeric format is not followed properly. Okay, this will be checked. Okay, and it also performs some design rule checks, DRC checks. Okay, for what? For DRC check is nothing but if any unconnected outputs are there, means you mentioned a port in a description, you have mentioned the output port some name, and you have not used that port. Okay, you have not used that port in your design. Okay, for example, if you are mentioned in a module uh, output ABC as the output ports, 3 ports as output, but you have used only AB in your design and you have left C. Okay, then C is not used. It will appear as a just output port in anywhere of the design, and it may cause any affect any it may cause any improper functionality of the design. Okay, this is also checked and it will report that this output port has been mentioned but it's not used. Then any undriven inputs are there. Any undriven input means you're establishing connection between cell to cell. For example, you're designing a ripple cadder. We'll take ripple cadder only. Your 4-bit ripple cadder is designing from 4 ripple adders. The output of each of the full adders carry output should be input should be act as a the output of one previous full adder carry out she will be acting as input carry input of the next full adder. If that carry out from the previous full adder is not given as a input as the next full adder, then that output is floating and that input is not getting any proper value. Okay, proper connection. This is nothing but the undriven input, and the multiple drivers are non-resolved signals. These are the three a few essentials it will be checking under the design rule. Okay, this synthesis tool will infer hardware constructs, means it realizes the whatever the description in the human readable language in the words a XOR b, a and b, a XOR b whole complement, like this will be, these are in words, this will be converted into the respective logic gates. This is for simple, and for complex those word expressed functions will be converted to proper hardware realization. Okay, the things involves are analyzing the wire, means and variable declarations to determine the encoding and number of bits required to represent the data. Analyzing the wire means what the distance between the input and output, the distance between the cell to cell connections, and declarations. It also um, checks the variable declaration, whether it's an input variable or it is a output variable. It also checks whether it is a one bit variable or it is a multiple bit variables. Okay, multiple bit variables means whether it is a bus. Okay, 0 to 3 or 4 to 0, n to 0, these all will be checked. Okay, and it analyzes the expressions and assignments to identify combinational circuit elements such as adders, multiplexers, and identify the input, output, and intermediate connections. Analyzes the expressions, whether that expression is sum is equal to a XOR b, carry out is equal to a and b, and this analysis is also done. It does. Okay, or if you go or if you take always sort of posits clock q less than equal to if yeah, if of not reset q less than equal to d, else q equals to previous one 0, like this. It also check all this. Okay, analyzing always blocks to identify the clock and control signals and to select the appropriate kinds of flip-flops and registers used. This synthesis tool will analyze each and every input port, each and every port as and classifies as it is input, that is output, and whether it is a single input or it is a bus input, whether it is a single output or a bus output, uh, and it also checks undriven output, undriven inputs, a floating input, floating output. It also analyzes the expression, whether this expression is a some XOR gate or this expression is giving a full AND gate, like that. Okay, and also checks the expression whether this expression can be realized in terms of a D flip-flop or a T flip-flop or a J flip-flop. All this analysis will be done by the synthesis tool, and after that analysis it will convert those into the respective hardware gates. Okay, we'll take an example of a D flip-flop. This is an example of a D flip-flop written using a always block. Okay, whenever the posits comes, q will be d in and q bar will be not q. Okay, and when you go for synthesis, the synthesis tool will performs all the analysis. Input will check what is q, it is output port. What is qb, it is also output port. What is clock, it is input port. What is d in, it is also input port. This is how the synthesis tool checks. And it also checks there are whether q and qb is just a signals which takes the output and gives the output, or it will stores the output. It will check whether it is a wire or edge. It detects that it is a edge. It means it makes the q and qb as registers output. okay, and it checks the always construct has been used, at what time it should what type of clock should begin, positive edge clock. Okay, if it is a negative edge clock, it inverts it gives a bubble in front of clock. You can see on the right side the figure is giving a synthesized view of the Verilog code. Okay, okay, this is how the synthesis tool analyzes and generates the hardware block. And the next we can, if you go for a complex design, then the code will be more large, and after the synthesis it will convert it will give the respective hardware part. This is one of the example of a counter, and the coding part is not shown, but this is an example of a counter, and the respective counter has been realized in a hardware after the synthesis. This is how after the synthesis the result will be getting. Okay, how the synthesis is done, there will be library cells. That library cells is nothing but a technology library. It includes all the better cells. Okay, it meets all the requirements, whatever the requirements you give, timing requirements, or whatever the area you give, whatever the power you require, those various types of cells will be there, you can choose and use. Okay, and this synthesis tools will communicates with the technology library. The EDA tool will be having a library. A library is nothing but a collection of all the cells, AND gate, OR gate, different variations, 2 input AND gate, 4 input AND gate, 3 input AND gate, like this different variations of cells will be there. Okay, this is nothing but library. This technology library will be available in the tool, EDA tool. The synthesis will, after analyzing, it will goes to the technology library, and it will picks the needed cells, and it will uses those cells in the hardware realization. Okay, the the synthesis tool analyzes the Verilog code, and it prepares a report, and based on that report it visits the technology library. From the technology library it substitutes the expression in terms of logic gates or logic cells. Okay, technology library is nothing but a collection of components that are available within the implementation fabric selected for the design. Implementation fabric, whether it's FPGA design or ASIC design. Okay, that is not the meaning of implementation fabric. For ASICs, the technology library is usually embedded in the tools provided by the FPGA vendor. For FPGA, okay, for FPGA, the technology library is usually embedded in the tools provided by FPGA vendor. For ASICs, the technology library is usually provided as part of a larger design kit by the ASIC vendor, that is the company that will ultimately manufacture the ASIC design. Okay, and the typical components, as I said, it may vary. It may be a um, um, inverting and non-inverting gates with a small number of two to four of inputs. That is why 2 input AND gate, 3 input AND gate, or 4 input AND gate, or it is a multiplexers. Okay, like this, or it's a flip flops. What type of flip flop? The library, D flip flop, JK flip flop. All this list of cells will be available in the technology library. Okay, the process of translating of the design into a circuit of library components is guided by synthesis constraints. Okay, the synthesis, we need to specify the constraints. We need to specify before starting the design what type of constraints we need to, for what type of voltage it should work. Okay, and what should be the area of the design. These are the constraints we'll specify. Based on that, the synthesis tool will give the respective hardware part. Okay, if you take an example, and the alternative structure might implement the required functionality inferred from the RTL code. Okay, what is this means? Okay, and there's a chance of same design using more number of gates, and there's a chance of using more number of gates, and there's a chance of less number of gates. Pardon me, if you're observing uh, more noises in this lecture, just because there's a function going on, a government function is going on. The vehicles are keep on earning. I don't know why they are keep on earning. This is a background, but I cannot avoid now. They're making some noise. Please bear with the lecture. Okay, there may be a chance of the same design designed with more number of gates and less number of gates. There is a chance of also when the design is designed with a more number of gates, it may work slowly. Okay, and the design which is your same design which is constructed using less number of gates may work faster. Okay, or there's a chance of when fewer gates are used and they give and they work slower, and more number of gates used, they works faster. Okay, this type of implementations is applied based on the requirements. Okay, I repeat the example. Two alternative circuit structures might implement the required functionality, the same functionality, okay, from the RTL code. Okay, there's a chance of multiple implementations. We'll take only two. One with the same design, implemented with fewer gates, connected in deeper chain, and it gives greater propagation delay. It works slower. More propagation delay means slower, and the other with more gates and connected less deeply, and so with less propagation delay, it works faster. This two way of implementation based on the requirements. Okay, yeah. In order to in order to make such timing based choices, the tool uses a simple wire model. Okay, there are different models to fix the timing issues. Okay, the one of them is wire load model, other wire load model, which is used to determine the wire delays. Okay, this wire load model is nothing but used to determine the wire delays. Means wire delay means amount of time taken from one output to reaching to the another input. Okay, based on the average wire lengths and loading, wire load model estimates the wire delays based on average wire lengths and loading. Since at this stage the actual layout and wiring is yet to be done. What is the meaning of based on average wire lengths and and loading means wire load model? It is nothing but connection between one stage to other stage. Okay, what length it requires, how much time it required to transfer signal from in the from start to end. Okay, length, how much length it requires, how much time it takes to transfer the signal through that length. Okay, and loading means there will be capacitors will be by default parasitic capacitance will exit, how much time the capacitance will take to charge and discharge. Okay, these are estimations will be done in the wire load model. Okay, and after that it will give the established connection. Okay, while we rely on the synthesis tool determine means, since we are not doing hardware connections directly, we are dependent on the tool. So we are depending on the synthesis tool determine the implementation for our design. Okay, we may need directly to instance specified predefined implementations. One such case is use of components created using the core generators. Okay, okay, we saw in the previous lecture we can use core generators where readily available components can be used. Okay, the core generators creates both a simulation model and a implementation model. A simulation model means one to check the waveform output, and implementation means one the hardware part. Okay, when we synthesize the design with the help of code generator, we need to instantiate a version of the generated code. What version? There is a version number 1, version number 2. We need to specify the version, because periodically the tool vendors and the designers keep on updating their library cells. Okay, we need to mention the versions, because the same design in 2000 will work for 10 inputs. The same design in 2020 may work for 20 inputs. Okay, so we need to keep aware of the version also. Okay, and the next we need to make sure why RTL simulation, why RTL synthesis and RTL simulation is preferred. Okay, there are two good reasons for performing a gate level simulation. First, the technology library includes estimates of timing parameters of the components used in the gate level design. They will be having a proper estimate of timing, that this design will give the output at this time, and this design will give the output of that time. This is the proper estimation we'll be getting. The gate level simulation allows us to verify that the design still meets functional requirements, taking into account these timing parameters. It may expose subtle timing errors that were not evident in the RTL code. Means we'll be having a proper timing, we will be meeting a proper timing requirements with the estimation. Next, the second is there are ways which you can write RTL model code that produce a different behavior in the RTL simulation and the synthesized hardware. What is this means? If we take when we take an example of a sequential circuit, in that sequential circuit, if we omit the asynchronous control signal, okay, if we omit the asynchronous control signal in a always block, if we write an counter design, um, asynchronous counter always at off, pause its clock or reset or any input. Okay, in that if you omit the any input part, that that design will work as a sequence synchronous. Okay, the design will work as a synchronous. Okay, so we should be aware of carefully writing, mentioning the what type of design, whether it is asynchronous or synchronous. Okay, the synthesis tool gives warnings. Will gives warning if you are describing the designs in a somewhat undesired way. Okay, it will not give errors because it gives warnings. Okay, these warnings, why I'm mentioning this, because the synthesis tool doesn't just only doesn't analyzes the input ports, output ports, always block expressions, doesn't analyzes only, it also gives warnings. You are written the so and so expression, but you are not using efficiently, the warning will issue. Okay, these warnings will be issued for all the um, wrong expressed way description. Okay, for simple applications, these warnings may not be uh, taken as serious. For complex applications, these warnings will be issued by the synthesis tool. If the designer is not aware of these warnings, it may end in a wrong result. Okay, um, and then next, this is about the synthesis. What about the synthesis? It gives the hardware realization of the gate level realization of the design description by analyzing the Verilog code. Okay, and it also expects the Verilog code should be the whatever the instructions, whatever the commands, whatever the keywords you use in Verilog, that should be a synthesizable one. Okay, that should be easily converted to hardware part. This is about synthesis. Okay, next, physical design. Physical design is a final stage of next is physical design. Physical design is a final stage of digital design flow. Okay, this physical design stage, we'll be having a area, in that area we need to place the cells and we need to establish connections between them. Okay, the physical design stage, we refine the gate level design into an arrangement of circuit elements in an ASIC, or build the programming file that configures each element in an FPGA. Okay, um, physical designs for ASICs in its basic form consists of floor planning. The stages in a physical design are floor planning, placement, and routing. What is floor planning? What is placement? What is routing? We will see. Okay, floor planning is nothing but we'll be having an area. In that area, we need to arrange the cells. We need to arrange the blocks. Okay, uh, in such a way that it doesn't extends the estimated area. Okay, the placement of the cell should be proper, and it should the placement or arrangement of the blocks cells should be such a way that it should meet the timing requirement, it should meet the area requirement. Okay, it should meet the power requirements. Okay, the steps in uh, floor planning are, it involves deciding where exactly each of the blocks should be placed by partitioning the design. On which location we need to place a particular cell, and which location we need to place a particular block. There are a number of factors that influence the floor plan. Okay, blocks that have a large number of connections between them should be placed near to each other. Okay, when blocks which have large number of connections, they should be placed closely. Okay, because we need to reduce the wire length between them and need to avoid congestion. We need to avoid wiring congestion. Congestion is nothing but non-availability of the places for wiring connection. Congestion is nothing but a shortage of area for proper wiring. Okay, similarly, blocks that are connected to external pins should be placed near the edge of the chip. The two lines in this slide saying blocks blocks should be placed blocks should be placed the cells in a block should be placed near to each other in order to avoid um, in order to reduce the wire length. And also the blocks which are directly connecting to the blocks which are directly connecting to the input pins and output pins should be placed near the edges means area. The area of the design will be a rectangle or a square, then the pins will be outside of the near boundaries of the area. Okay, the blocks or cells which are directly connecting the input pins and output pins should be placed around the corner means boundary means edge of the chip. Okay, the position of these blocks determines allocation and positioning of pins for external connections. The block should be arranged to make the chip as close as to square. Okay, since that influences size of the package that can be used. So we can maintain the we can meet the area requirement. Square chips are easier to package, so we go for square chips than the rectangular chips. Okay, the chip size may be a square or rectangle or any H shape or I shape or L shape. Okay, depending upon the application requirement. Okay, okay, so in general the actual chip means I will repeat, I will convey this. The chip may be rectangular shape or square shape. In a larger design, multiple designers will be involved in designing of the each component. So each component, each designer will be designing a different part. So the chips, the particular block area may change. Okay, ultimately that may be H shape, that may be I shape, that may be L shape. Okay, but the complete top level systems chips should be in a square or should be in a rectangular. Here the square chips are preferred over than the rectangular chips. Okay, then we will see what is floor planning. What steps involves floor planning involves the arrangement of the power supply and ground pins. It will take the area and it arrange power supply and ground pins. Why power supply and ground pins? Because all the cells require VDD power supply and ground, right? So the total area should be divided and should provide power VDD and ground. We will see the picturized way. And it's also floor planning involves the arrangement of power supply and ground pins. It involves internal connections. It involves connection and distribution of clock signals across the chip. Okay, it means the cells, the block should be placed in such a way that connections for clock signals can be done properly. Connections between the cells can be done properly. Okay, and all the cells and blocks should be make sure that it should get the proper VDD supply and required VDD supply and required ground supply. Finally, floor planning also involves provision of channels for laying out interconnections between blocks. Okay, a good floor plan will result in a time consumed and a better efficient ASIC design. Okay, we will see a picturized way. We'll see a picturized way. What is this? We will before designing we'll be having an area. Okay, this is a design area. In the design area we need to place the blocks, we need to place the cells such a way that there should be a proper wiring connection between all the pin to pins, and proper VDD and power supply, ground supply should be given, and pin should be placed properly. Input pins, output should be placed properly. This is this all this will be done at the beginning stage, that is a floor planning stage. In the floor planning stage, we will get an area, and we will divide that area into an uh, equal number of sub areas. Okay, these are the sub areas we are dividing. Okay, in this we'll provide uh, power supply and ground connections. We'll give VDD connections and ground connections in this. Okay, and after that we will place the blocks. I repeat again. Whatever the cells, whatever the cells we are playing, first we'll divide into areas. We'll make sure this is these areas we have VDD and ground, and okay, and we'll place the blocks. This is just an example. These blocks can be arranged in any way. Okay, here the block A and block B are directly connecting to the input pins, so they are placed near the edges of the one side of the area, and block C, block D, block E are connected to the output pins, so they are placed other side of the area. Okay, a clock signal is come. These are the input ports and these are the output ports. We are establishing a connection between pins and blocks. So you can see the connections between A, clock B is somewhat wire length is reduced, since we have placed block A and block B close to the boundary. If you have placed block A and block B in the middle of the area, then we require more wire. Similarly, since we are placing block C, block D, block E near to the boundary, the wire length has been reduced. This is how the picturized way of physical design will be doing. Next, this is a floor planning for ASIC. Okay, we can once we have placed the blocks and we given power supplies, we can go for placement and routing. Placement is nothing but we have placed larger blocks in the macro blocks in the floor planning. Placement means we need to place standard cells. Standard cells means logic gates. Okay, in floor plan we are placing blocks, means some larger designs. In placement stage we are placing standard cells means logic gates. Okay, routing means wiring connections. Okay, um, the this placement steps involves finding the path. Where are the available paths after the blocks have been placed? In that paths, if those blocks are interacting with the logic gates, we need to place those logic gates near to those blocks. Okay, the main blocks are to the main goals are to position all cells and route all connections to achieve minimum area and to have establishing critical connections between the block and the cells. Okay, it means in order to avoid signal integrity issues. We have discussed in module 4 about this sorry, module 3, signal integrity issues. Okay, if you are not when you are placing the cells close to each other, there is a chance of signal integrity occurring. Okay, so we need to make sure properly taken care to avoid the signal integrity. Okay, the result of placement and routing is a suite of files to send to the chip foundry for fabrication. We have placed the blocks we are in a floor planning, and we have placed standard cell logic gates in the near in the area. Okay, and since all the blocks and all the cells are placed, next thing is we need to establish wiring connection among them. This is called routing. Once the routing has been done, we will be checking the timing requirements, we will be checking the power requirements, we will be checking all sorts of requirements, and after that we will be sending the we'll be getting and after all the verification have been done, all the checks have been done, we'll be getting an output file from this. Okay, entire design has been ready. That output file will be in some form of files. Okay, that file will be sent to the chip foundry for fabrication. Okay, in these checks we can generate different types of reports. Timing report we can generate, we can also do power analysis. That report we can also generate. This is about physical design for ASIC. However, for physical design for FPGA, this involves deciding how to implement the synthesized design using programmable resources of a prefabricated chips. We can go for CPLDs or PLDs. Okay, in this FPGA physical design. The FPGA chip designers would have used ASIC design techniques for physical design of the FPGA chip, but that is a separate process completed before we start our physical design target the FPGA. This phrase, this paragraph means in ASIC design we are manually placing or manually doing the connections, but in FPGA the tool will do automatically. Okay, the tool will do automatically. Physical design for FPGA also starts with floor planning, but in this case physical design for FPGAs also starts with floor planning, but in this case the problem is much more constrained. A good arrangement of blocks in the FPGA fabric reduces the number of long distance interconnects, giving a faster and more readily routed implementation. It also simplifies connections to input blocks and their associated pins. Okay, for many smaller FPGA applications the floor plans are generated automatically. As I said, for FPGA the floor plans are generated automatically with the help of a EDA tools. Okay, for FPGA designs the EDA tools automatically generates the floor plan in the synthesized way, in the synthesis stage only. Okay, for larger designs it is difficult to generate it is difficult to depend on the automatically generated floor plan. Okay, so we need to give improve the floor planning techniques for FPGA. Okay, then after the placement and routing done, we need to perform an intermediate step called mapping. And mapping involves identifying the FPGA specific resources to be used for each of the library components instantiated in the synthesized design. This is nothing but the synthesized design where we are substitute the library cells for the each of the expressions. There is similarly, this is similarly like same. Okay, mapping involves identifying the FPGA specific resources, FPGA specific resources, not other domain, only specific to FPGA. Okay, and substituting those components from the library. That's it. An example: instances of gates and multiplexers would be mapped to lookup tables, and instance of flip-flop components to the specific flip-flops provided in the logic blocks. Only the blocks which are suitable for FPGA design only. Those library cells should be substituted in the synthesis stage for FPGA design. Okay, the result is an implementation of the design of logic blocks, input output blocks, and FPGA specific resources. Okay, as opposed to the library cells used by synthesis tool. In synthesis tool, what it was doing, it is synthesizing without ASIC or FPGA design consideration. It is substituting the library cells according to the expression. But when it is meant, the design is meant for FPGA, the library cells, the cells should be substituted with respect to the FPGA design compatible only. Okay, it cannot substitute any library cells available arbitrarily. It should substitute the cells which are purposefully working for FPGA design only. Okay, placement and routing of an FPGA seeks to achieve much the same goals as for ASICs, namely identifying specific blocks and routing wires in the FPGA to use the mapped blocks while minimizing area and delay of critical signals. Okay, as with floor planning, this step is best left to automatic tools provided by the FPGA vendor. The FPGA placement and routing is done is to be needs to be performed automatically. Okay, because the tool will be having better algorithm instead of manually doing instead of manually placing logic gates and wiring connections. We can depend on the algorithms provided by the tool vendor for placement and routing. Okay, if we need to improve placement or routing, we can specify the constraints, like where exactly how and what should be the placement and what should be timing constraints. Okay, the final result of the placement FPGA placement and routing step is a bit file. This bit file can can be used and dumped onto the FPGA board. We can also generate detailed timing information for the design based on the internal timing parameters of the logic blocks and interconnect in the FPGA. And we can run final timing simulation to verify that the implemented design meets timing constraints. Okay, in both ASIC and FPGA, we can do timing simulations and we can get timing reports. In a simplified way, the design flow for in physical design for FPGA and ASIC are purely functional design, or are dependent on the much dependent on the functional design and synthesis stage. Okay, in more realistic flows in industry, aspects of physical designs are interwoven with earlier stages. It means it is related to the functional design stage, functional verification stage, and synthesis stage. Okay, for example, physical designs are being increasingly used in synthesis tools. Okay, allowing tool to choose among alternative implementations based on how the placement and routing meets the area and timing of the requirement. Okay, ultimately, if you understand how physical design issues affect the quality of the final implementation, we are in a better position to make good design trade-offs early in the design flow. So thus the last para conveying, we should be aware of that, how to do the physical design. Okay, in general, these are in general all these steps should be done carefully. So each of these steps, functional architecture, functional design, functional verification, synthesis, physical design, physical verification, all these are done, um, all these are divided into different um, areas. Okay, designing areas. Not a single designer will perform all these steps. These steps are divided among the design engineers. Each separate engineers will work on each one of the areas. Okay, so we can save the design time effort, and we can achieve the time to market. This completes the design flow section of the design methodology. And we will start the next next steps in the design methodology in the upcoming classes. Thank you all for listening.